Hey guys, Demi here from Atlas Vibrations Spirituality, and I am here with what is coming in September 2025 for you. This is a monthly prediction read, and I wanted to start off by pretty much saying that I recommend with these type of reads and doing my own research with it, watching the video, putting the name or the pile that you choose in the comment selection, and coming back to watch it at the end of the month before you go and do your next month's read. That's what I recommend, because there were some things that I completely forgot, and I usually pick my own pile, and I found that I made my own prediction in my last pile or my last month's read, and I was like, oh shit. So I was like, okay, if I would have maybe, depending on your lifestyle, like I would just check in, maybe even if you do it halfway through the month so you can kind of move through. And that's how I do the read, pretty much. I kind of break down your month into 3 sections, and we kind of just go from there and see what kind of comes up and flow. Try not to restrict it too much. So yes, I highly suggest doing that and understanding so you can move through the month easier. For those of you that are new to the channel, hello, I am Demi. I own Atlas Vibrations Spirituality, and these are for entertainment purposes only. So if I say anything about your health, please just take it, I don't want to say with a grain of salt, but I'm not making a diagnosis, so please don't go running to your doctor saying like, hey, Demi told me that I have this problem, and like, if it's true, it's true. If it's not, it's not. And it, once again, entertainment purposes only. Do keep in mind as well, this is a general read, so everything may or may not resonate with you. I do find that things are pretty spot on and in that way, but if something isn't resonating with you, leave it for somebody else. And pronouns wise, I use, for the masculine, I use he. For the feminine, I use she. Unless I see things differently or set specific to gender, I usually take care of that and clarify it. So if you're new to pick a card readings, what you will do, and I highly suggest, is grounding down, taking 3 deep breaths in, 3 deep breaths out, and using your gut or your intuition to guide you to the pile that you're drawn to. For some of you, you might have already chosen it, and for others, you may have not. So take 3 deep breaths in from the gut, 3 deep breaths out, clear your mind, and choose through there. For those of you that like to pick with crystals, I'm going to throw them in front now, and I'll go over the decks as we move through here. Okay. I kind of somehow knew, like I kind of saw that this was going to come out this way. I don't know if you guys can see this, but we'll kind of, why is this all the way over here that you can't see it? Okay, well, there we go. Pile number 1 is going to be the Dream of the Nile Tarot with the Citrine Crystal. Pile number 2 is going to be the Fable Maker's Tarot with the Onyx Crystal. Pile number 3 is going to be the True Black Tarot with the Obsidian Crystal. And this is going to be the Weaver Tarot Journeyer Edition with the Carnelian Crystal. Please take a moment to choose your pile if you have not already, and then I will have you guys go down to the description box, choose your timestamp, and I will see you in your read. Hey, pile number 1, you've chosen the Dream of the Nile Tarot with the Citrine Crystal. I am going to put the Citrine Crystal right over here, and I'm going to start shuffling, and we'll kind of go from there. If you guys didn't take a look into the introduction, I highly suggest going back, just so that way you guys can get an info or update on the what the spread actually means, how I read a little bit. So yes, highly suggest that. So as I'm shuffling here, feel free to subscribe to the emailing list. You'll receive 15% off on my website for your first session. That's in the description box below. Also, as well, for energy exchange, for those of you that like to leave a tip for your read, please feel free to, as I do them for free. Tips are always appreciated. They are never expected, but that's in the description box below as well. And social media. I am mainly active on Instagram, not really TikTok, and I do like to do an occasional YouTube video where I put all of my stuff up. Ooh, you guys got a card from the universe. All right, so what's going on for what's going to happen for the month of September? Ooh. All right, guys. Well, let's look at these in the way that they fell out. First thing is first, pile number 1. So I don't know if you guys have recently lost somebody or will or have lost somebody, but I see somebody giving you something as like or a gift, possibly as a like I see my or I'm hearing my condolences. And somebody may try and give you a gift or give you something, and maybe as an apology gift, like I'm sorry I effed up kind of gift. It could be like it looks like kind of like a fruit basket. There we go. Looks a little bit like a fruit basket. But I feel like this is a very giving month, pile number 1. And I feel like the universe is telling you be open to receive. Because I feel like sometimes you get in your head a lot and you're kind of like, I don't want to say this, but it could get a little too much in the feminine, get a little bitchy. And you know, don't realize when people give or vice versa that you're the one who's always giving and the people are kind of like bitchy towards you. And it gets in your feelings a little bit because you could have a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So getting in the feelings. But I also feel like the universe is trying to kind of align you on the path that you want to, because I feel like you've been going in and out of turns where you're like, okay, I want to be kind of set on the straight path, but it's kind of this interweaving and this intertwining, but kind of really learning in a way to step into your self-worth. And Spirit is saying too, being kind of okay with who you are and kind of being alone to, I don't want to say figure it out, but you may spend a lot of time alone. You could have a Virgo rising like myself, but that's what I'm picking up with that card. The next card that we have is I was like, this say initiation or intuition? This is initiation. It came out reversed. So for some of you guys feel like you have a block going on that you can't move forward and move into with what it is that you want to do. It's almost like a new door is opening, but you're almost not there. But Spirit is telling me that you want to be at the end all be all of it, though. Like you want to have and I hate to say this, it might be a little triggering for you, pile number 1. You want to have the goal at the end, but you don't want to be on the journey to get there and put the hard work and dedication in. But like, I completely understand, because it's the same way, but you're being called to have a new, but you gotta kind of like almost put in the work. And I know it sounds funny, but the best example I can give is like, even with me, like I want to start writing more and I'm being called to do it. It's part of like a purpose of mine. And then I was like, well, I want to be successful, but like I want to be not a best-selling author, but up there, but I didn't write any books. Like I haven't written like a book. How could you be an author if you don't have any books like to sell? So that's kind of what Spirit is kind of like using that as an reiteration. Like you don't have anything to sell, and it's kind of like might put you into perspective, and you're like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, and then when you break it down, you would probably judge somebody else and be like, well, how do you expect to be an author if you don't have any books? Like, so there's that. Next, we have the Five of Wands. upright, and we also have the Five of Cups reversed. So I'm gonna be honest again, pile number one. Sometimes you really get in your feels and you get really, really upset over when people are kind of like mean to you, especially if they're in competition with you. Like, you may want to essentially like break down and cry and kind of be like, well, why don't they like me? Like, why don't they like, and I'm not trying to make fun of you. That's not it. Sorry if it came out that way, but getting into the too much into the feels because they're just being kind of like, nasty, and they're just telling me like it's all just kind of like group talk, like, like you're people who have been in groups and they talk about shit and they're all just kind of like, doing the tea time, the gossip time, like that's all it is, and they're just kind of being, I hate to say it, you're right, like your soul's coming and telling me they're being mean to my face, and it's not necessarily right, and then you get kind of sensitive, and that's what spirit is saying, that it could be morals and values, and you kind of get really in your feelings about it, but it's kind of just showing you like spirit's coming in and saying that it's calling for you to make the change because you may want to fit in with these people, but you don't fit in with these people. And that's where you need to be in a space where you're around people more. And they're showing me the craft, so you may be like a witch or you're into spirituality a little bit more. And that's where they're kind of saying to you, you need to be around people that have the same like interests as you do, so you can kind of go from there. I literally put the cards back in the pile, even though I didn't put the cards out. Okay, so let's hop into the spread. We have the Apprentice of Air, which is the Page of Wands. The Apprentice of Earth, which is the Page of Pentacles. This one was reversed. I don't know if I said that. This is the Four of Wands, upright. Six of Cups, reversed. God of Water, reversed. So this is the King of Cups. The Goddess of Fire, reversed. This is the Queen of Queen of Fire. Or Queen of Wands, I should say. And we have the Ten of Pentacles, reversed. I get the Wands and the Swords confused in this deck, so I'm going to take a look here. Make sure I have it correct. Sorry guys, just give me a second. Okay. I was wrong. The ones that have the spears on them are the swords. So this is the Four Swords upright. Okay? Alrighty. Let's hop into this. So the overall energy to embody this month is going to be the Page of Swords / the Apprentice of Air. Sorry guys, just give me a second. I got a deep message coming in from this one. So you guys really need to start being more creative, and I see this, so you guys may be painting, or so it may be really good to embody this idea like energy, new ideas, talking, being creative, bouncing ideas off of other people, being more artsy and creative in the way that you need to be. And so that could be writing, that could be painting, that could be kind of, and also to working through this energy where, I hate to sound like this, but feeling almost kind of like bitchy and cold, where embodying the fact that, and not being too nasty in that process, and understanding that your ideas are great. Embody that energy, know that your energies, or your energies, knowing that you do have great ideas, and even to follow your own path, embody the energy of your thoughts, your ideas, and on your own path to create that. Don't be looking to other people to kind of help you kind of create. And maybe your spirit animal for the month, because there's two snakes on this card, so it could be a snake, and embodying that death, transformation, and rebirth, because I feel like you guys are going through a deep change where you're kind of like, I don't need them, and I hear they need me. And Spirit's going, you're right. You are 110% correct. And so, this is why you're turning away from it, because they want to control you. So embody your ideas, embody these things that are going to take you on your path of how you need to do them. And maybe you are feeling a little bit more lower in a negative energy this month, and embodying that, quote unquote bitchiness that I talked about. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. But don't be mean to others purposely just because you can be, because that's always me too. I tried always to remind myself that's not how I want to be treated, so treating other people. But if you need to keep that kind of internal, that shadow energy where you're like, like, I'm not, no. Gotta be cold where you need to be at times, and maybe it's not to verbally abuse people, okay? What to expect this month, we have the Apprentice of Earth reverse. Some of you guys are thinking about going back to school. Others of you, and what to expect, essentially, is I feel like you guys have a really, or had a really mean coworker who would kind of like do this wishy-washiness of being nice, but then deep down you knew that they had like really bad, like they would glare at you, or you would see it, and they would just roll their eyes at you and see it in their, like, you would see it in their face. And it's kind of like that energy still being kind of stuck to you. I feel like you may not know this, or you may kind of feel it, that they may be talking behind your back, and I'm not trying to sit here and be like, yes, they are. Like, it just depends on what you feel and from the situation, because obviously you know it better than I do. But I will say that it's a naive energy, and I think that you need to tell yourself the God's honest truth about this situation, because this person is, I see like a child running around, and it's almost like the energy is almost like, when you look at that card with the pentacle, it looks like they're banging on a drum, and it's kind of like, well, pay attention to me, let me act like a child, so that way I can kind of not get attention, but so I can kind of be the center of attention. And that's usually like a Leo energy, where Leo energy, they always like to kind of be out, like have those, I wouldn't say emotional outbursts, but they like to kind of do radical things to kind of get the attention that they need, or like to extremes, even if it's even like, you may know somebody who's like that, an extremist, who will go and do like, all I heard was like aerial acrobatics, or things that are thrill seeking, and so that way they can just kind of get that attention. And that's kind of what that is. And Spirit is saying just to know that they're wounded. Anubis is here, saying that you're always kind of protected, and to remind you that to expect that there are people out there who are not going to be as far along on the journey as you are, and that they may need to be, how do I put this? Not more educated, but just because they're not educated or they don't have the same wisdom or they don't have the same experience as you, that doesn't mean they get to kind of be mean. So I just want you guys to kind of expect that and kind of see too, this is also learning from past mistakes. So you guys may even be seeing that these people and how you're treated and how this negative energy is affecting you. How did you take action with that? And so this may be for some starting over. This is, choosing different areas to kind of work in and not being so stagnant. So the energy is out of balance. So this is what I want you guys to kind of expect this month. Even if this person is not really there, they may still be in your energy field, and it may be just a small lesson for you to teach yourself to be kind of more within yourself and go from there. Okay? So for the beginning of the month, I have the Four of Swords reversed or upright. I'm so sorry. Upright. We have the Four of Swords upright. I feel like you guys need to get a really nice, good, deep rest. I feel like Spirit is trying to get you to rest, and even through your dreams at the beginning of the month. And by the beginning of the month, I mean the first two, week and a half into 2 weeks, because energy blends. So getting some rest, getting some mental clarity, kind of relaxing, and also letting people, and because you're in your mind, so letting the negative people be in their negative vibe. They don't need to be attached to you. So trying to cut those energetic cords, letting people go, and understanding that you essentially need to be at peace. And that's why I say at the beginning of the month, you're like, I'm not dealing with it. Like, you may literally go to sleep. You may literally be like, I'm going to sleep and I am not dealing with this. Like, for some, you're like, you're texting me way too late. And I see that maybe there might be a wound where you're getting triggered, where you're like, you keep texting me late at night and you want to hang out and it's just not working. But it's almost like this annoyance where it's like, you can't really keep up, and they're not kind of fitting into your schedule, and it's like, okay, well, I need to kind of make this change. And I kind of see I'm gonna be real with you, pile number one, they act like babies. They'll literally be like, I hate to sound like this, but wah, 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 you didn't pay attention to me, why are you doing this to me, those kinds of things. You're hurting my feelings and you don't care about my feelings, and you're like, I didn't even know you had feelings. You may be like, I didn't even effing know, because this is the first time I'm even hearing about it. And it's almost like that maturity where you're like, it's not that big of a deal. This is where you're going to start to get triggered, where you're like, it's not that deep. And you're realizing that it doesn't need to be this deep. It doesn't need to. And that's maybe a big lesson, and something that in that healing process that you're going to have to kind of learn and kind of move through. Okay? The mid-month energy, which is about that, literally that middle ground, that 2-week mark, week and a half to that 2-week to 2.5 week mark, we have the Six of Cups reversed. I'm gonna be honest, pile number one, you may get stuck on an emotional connection from the past that never really got off the ground. There was a deep connection, and maybe you were attracted to this person. This is more of a friendship, and maybe a feminine energy, could be a literal female, and it almost was if you sit down, you might have some tea, or you may have tea time, and you're you may have felt this really deep connection, but the facade has kind of come off, and you may kind of see that it may be somebody from your past, and they're playing down memory lane, and maybe somebody you used to work with, and it just may be oh, how are you, things are going really great, and you may have noticed as you're sitting there kind of your life isn't that great. I see your social media. You're sitting there doing nothing. You're even telling yourself, and this is where you might get pissed. They may even try to, project onto you and be like, well, I'm just so sorry that you're just not, and like things aren't really going well, and you're just like, I'm just being honest. And you're realizing that the person wasn't honest, and it just never really and hit the ground running, and it's just gonna, and you were probably gonna sit there and be like, it's a, like, you have to admit to yourself, this is a fake friendship. Like, it may have just been like a soul like attraction, and maybe from a past life, or, and it's just not really it, and kind of getting into your feelings with it, and then realizing that the person, it might be too much in their feelings, excuse me, and they may project onto you. And that's what I'm seeing, like, mid-month, and this could be anybody from your past. And I think it'll kind of group together. Like, I think it'll kind of make you see, like, might make you look at all of your friendships that way, or all of feminine energy like that, and seeing that facade that is kind of coming down. For the end of the month, we have the God of Water reversed. And so, for some, this is not for a pile number one. You may have somebody, like a masculine energy, that actually, like, really likes you, and they, if you're single for this, or married, just take whatever, but it could be your significant other, but like, they may actually really like you, and their energy is so distorted that they may be using logic. They're based off of emotion, but they're coming off very logical, and they may start to get, like, not controlling, but they may try and just be like, they may be, I don't want to say verbally abusive, but you may take it as verbally abusive, where they're just kind of like, well, I told you about this, and I told you that I, like, not liked you, but I told you about, and it's just like, okay, well, you might be dealing with a masculine energy that's very, like, over emotional, and using that freaking, like, nasty, like, cold, mean, hard words. And it's not going to be, like, bad, but it might just be, like, a slight argument where they're just like, well, I told you that I did this, and I told you that I felt about this, and, you know, you haven't, like, not that you haven't done anything, but, like, you, like, I feel this way, and, like, you're not acting like you feel this way. Like, it's just going to be kind of like a hodgepodge of shit, and you're just going to be like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, I feel like this person may have never even asked you out on a date. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, we didn't even go out. And you're like, where's all this coming from? Like, you got, like, and you're just gonna be like, I could see that, but, like, you're gonna make connections and points, and understanding that they're just having an emotional, like, literal verbal outburst that's not coming off the way that, like, when you know that they just want to say how they feel, and they can't say how they feel, so they're yelling at you, or they're, like, and you're just gonna be like, that's, and I just see you getting, like, that's not mature, like, that's not, and then, like, this is why, you know. And it's just like, and you may, I wouldn't get into it, pile number one, if that's what the case may be. I wouldn't be arguing with this person, because this person may be going away. Like, I see bars, I see, you know, like, energy, like, almost as if, like, when things pass away, like, I'm not saying this person may pass away at all, but it's like, when the soul leaves the body, we go towards the white light. So I see the bars behind, like, the white light. Like, this might just be something that's done. Like, it might just be something, an energetic or, like, karmic situation that this person needed to kind of, like, to kind of learn. And it's also, like, I'm seeing that scene from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Like, it's just a snippet of where, you know, get the courage to ask me before somebody else does, and not as a last resort. And it's true, because Ron had every single opportunity just to ask Hermione, tell Hermione that she wanted, like, he wanted to go to the dance with her. He sat with her at breakfast every day. So it's one of those things in that situation where it may just be like, you were too late. And that's what that person maybe needs to learn, that they were just too late. And maybe it was certain circumstances, but there could have been more done that they didn't do, if that makes sense. We have the Goddess of Fire reversed for something that you need to look out for this month. So I feel like for you, pile number one, you guys are going to be vibing at, like, this month, and you may just kind of be, like, kind of happy, but also you may also be getting triggered by people who are happy, who are confident, because it's kind of showing you where you need to be, and that you've needed to make these changes, and you're just full-blown, like, fucking resisting them. And I'm not judging you, because I feel the same way. Like, I want to change my whole wardrobe and get rid of clothes because they're just not me anymore, but I'm like, money. But I might be partially using that as an excuse, but I have to sit with it, right? So just an example of what that may be. You may be getting triggered that everybody looks better than you. They look, you know, I don't know, you want to be more eccentric. I feel like an Aquarian energy, see that she's got jewelry, so you may want to buy jewelry, you may want to dress up more, you may want to figure out your style, you may want to change some things, like, about your teeth, like, just those, like, kinds of things, where it's like, I want to be more vibrant, I want to feel better. And this could also be, you know, you being in your own energy and everybody kind of just being like, wow, look at her. Isn't she just, you know, a peach? Like, just people being like mean, nasty, feminine energy of trying to be the bully, sitting in groups. We kind of talked about this at some point, I think. No, wrong setting. Sorry. But kind of just not being around people who, you know, are part of that group, and it's like a big group of people. I hear council, so this may be people that, you know, work together in a cabinet of some sort, and they're just like, meh, and you're just kind of like, y'all are miserable. But even though you know, and I hate to sound like this because you're miserable, sometimes you may attract that misery, but it's not like you're looking for it, and it's just kind of like, because you're miserable, you see the misery in other people, if that makes sense. Last but not least, Spirit's guidance is, I know, I'm like, this is so specific. Some of you may want to live in like a mansion. I'm also singing like a house, like I play The Sims, so there's like Duplanter dwelling or something, like in when the paranormal pack came out. So you may want to live in like a very old, ancient Victorian house where it's almost like this, it's not a mansion, but it's like a very nice, like, bigger house that's very it's Victorian, and it may have that like really old kind of like style. I'm even seeing like a New Orleans kind of like style house. And yeah, again, so Spirit is saying that you want to get there, you want to get to this kind of house, but like, you have to build it. And I'm just being honest with you guys, it's not going to be until you're older. Like, they're showing me, and I'm just being honest with you, pile number one, you want it to happen at the snap of your fingers, but it's not going to happen. Like, they're going the books, you know, you gotta kind of get yourself there, and they'll put you on the path. But it's also kind of working through, once again, I hate to say this, but like that bitchiness that comes in and kind of is like, well, you're like, wow, like, and you don't kind of, your mood may kind of, and your mind may kind of suppress that. Okay, so that's what I see for this month. You guys have chosen the citrine crystal. So the first thing that came up, and usually with citrine is money. It brings in abundance, it brings in confidence, it works with the solar plexus chakra. And so it is building that and understanding that. I think where you guys first need to start off with is seeing that you can do it, believing in yourself, and being that it's not necessarily about putting the hard work and dedication in. It's also about coming up with those ideas, sticking to those ideas, and being able to kind of not put yourself in a place where you're feeling, I think the overall read was this place of like not being confident, because they're showing me that you have the wisdom. You know, it's all about moving in flow and kind of getting yourself in that, on that journey, really. And it's a beautiful thing. So don't doubt yourself. Paint, be creative, do the fun things that you want to do, and kind of just go from there and see how it pans out. But overall, I like this read. I genuinely hope that it resonated. And until next time, my friends, namaste. Hey guys, pile number 2. You've chosen the Fable Maker's Tarot with the Onyx Crystal. I'm going to put the Onyx Crystal over there, hidden as you can't see. And I know the pile looks 10 times bigger than it did in the beginning. The sleeves on here made it really hard to, or doubled the deck in size. So I highly suggest going back to the beginning of the video just so that we could kind of get an idea of what this read is and how I talk about the pronouns that I use for the masculine and the feminine and XYZ. If you guys have not subscribed to the emailing list just yet, please do. You'll receive 15% off of your first session with me. Should be emailed to you immediately. For those of you that like to do energy exchange, the link to my Venmo, PayPal will be down below. Tips are always appreciated. They are never expected. So feel free to do that if you wish. It's there for those who like to do that. And social media, I'm mainly on Instagram. I haven't really even been putting out a newsletter either. Not really on TikTok. We'll get there eventually, but as of right now, it's just Instagram and my website. So there is that. You guys already have a message from the universe. It's the Two of Cups reversed, and these ones like to move. So, Two of Cups reversed. And I'll go over that in a second. This one wants to come out too. All right. I'll pull those in a second. So, Two of Cups reversed. This must be a collective energy for the whole month of September, because probably, I don't know, there must be some weird placement with Libra and something else. But long story short is, I feel like a masculine energy, if you're a feminine watching this video, a masculine energy may actually really like you, and you may not feel that way, but you may feel that you like them in a different way, and maybe you didn't know, or I'm hearing for some you had an idea but needed the confirmation, so here it is. And I don't mean this in the way that it's going to come out, but they may try and like trick you to kind of like go out and have a drink with them. Like they may kind of, you may feel this way, that they may manipulatively, if that's a word, try and use your friendship to kind of like see you or talk to you, or kind of just try and get you to be in their energy field because they like you and they just kind of want you to be around them. But it's also about two. I feel like pile number 2, you need to ask yourself what you do like. I feel that you do, I wouldn't say have feelings for this person, but you do feel a connection. You may feel chemistry, but it's almost not enough and you don't know why. And I will say here we have I think it's called the Caduceus. I'm not going to attempt to butcher it more than it already is. The lion is on this one for some reason. But the other card that we have that came out was Strength reversed. It's kind of tough when, I don't know if you can see, but the lion's on here too. Or is this a fox? It's a lion. It is a lion. So, other thing too is two different things. It's a vice versa energy. For some, Spirit is well aware that you do need to get some rest. Like even, I hate to say it, like the king, king of the jungle, the lion himself, top of the food chain, needs rest himself. He can't always be the king and not rest. And so maybe for some you've been catered to, or some people have been helping you to help take care of things, and so this is something that may be kind of you're questioning yourself about, because you may own a business, you may want to take vacation, and you may want to go out and like do things, but you need help. You need the help of I don't want to say counsel, but you do need help of some sort, and you need the people who you hired or work with to help pick up some of the slack. And Spirit is even saying if that's the case, like they need to evenly, and maybe you need to put that out there so it's not just one person, they may need to divide your work up into like 4 or 5 people, so that way it's not like everybody's taking on in like your department like a whole bunch of work. So I would just maybe suggest that, like, because if they say, for example, I'm seeing like, oh, this person may not be able to cover you, so you might not be able to go, or you can't take off at this time. We're like, well, why can't you just, like, don't be mean about it, but just be like, why can't, this person take this? Like, can this person, I'm just going to give an example of, like, my job's like, why can't this person just sign the orders? Or why can't this person just do this, and then this other person could do this portion of the job, so that way it's not too much and you don't have too much on your plate to kind of do it. Or it could be vice versa. You are the person that is taking on either too much, or you have a lot on your plate and you're the one that's kind of like helping this other person kind of take care of it other ways. Or you're just, another side note, taking care of other people and taking care of those things. And because it is the Strength card, this has to do with vitality, life, purpose, confidence, and that shadow energy of, like, Leo, where it can be very childlike. But that's not what I really picked up with that card in specific. But has to do with more of that vitality and that strength of in the body, where we're tired and trying to kind of like move on and move forward and get to where you need to be when it comes to your health and your strength. Okay. All right, let's hop into the read. I got the 8 of Coins upright. Six of Swords reversed. Death reversed. Nine of Swords reversed. Ooh, we got some heavy energies. Pile number 2. Sorry, I'm going to pile number 3. Wow, these are all reversed. Y'all saw me shuffle these. Page of Chalices, Page of Cups reversed. Finally, the Sun. Upright. I love this card, but we got the Sun and Death on 2 opposite sides. Okay. Alrighty, and we have the Star. Nice. Upright. Love that. Okay. Here we are. Couple major arcana. And I also want to pull up, when we're done, about the Onyx. Okay. So, the overall energy to embody this month, pile number 2, is, when looking at this whole thing, the 8 of Coins is obviously at the center of it, because you guys are either diligently working or you are just genuinely working. I feel Taurus energy very, very hard. You may have a goal in mind. You may want to buy something. You may have been wanting to purchase something. But also you may travel, so you may be away from your family, or you've been working from home, or there's a situation where you haven't been at work, but you may have had to do a side business, or you're not in the area, so you may be separated from coworkers, depending on what it is. So you're not necessarily maybe in the office. And I completely, like, my mind blanked on what we talked about in the beginning, so you could be on vacation, you could be just taking time off to figure out what you need to. But to embody the energy of this month is continue to put that work in. Continue to kind of work on, this is mainly hobbies, but work on those hobbies. Like, for some of you, I see this, you're turning a hobby into a career. You're turning something into a side hustle, a side business. And for some, you're looking for other jobs. So embody this energy of putting that work in, putting that diligence in. Maybe, like I said, you want to buy something of a materialistic possession that you want. Whether, I see like a new couch for somebody. This could also just be like home furnishing. So you may be trying to move, and it's kind of time for you to start looking, budgeting, and maybe seeing that you need to make some more money. But continue to pretty much put that literal physical work in. Continue going to work. Continue being in your own energy field and embodying that your own goal. And I think that this is something that for this month that you guys are realizing that your goals are your goals, and they're showing me that there is this semi separation of the fact that of learning into adulthood that your goals are different, and this is where life actually starts to drastically change. You know, they're showing me even from when we were kids, like you may have a Cancer sun, moon, or rising, or even they're showing me a Cancer I see, which is your roots. So Cancer may actually be like you may have an Aries rising with the Cancer root, as to it's time to maybe move your home and your roots and figure out, you know, where to go from there. So embody that energy, the change, everything. Move into continuing the work that you're doing and not ignoring other people, but seeing that you're an adult now. Maybe things do need to change. Maybe your finances do need to change. And I think that that's where the sadness is kind of setting, because we do have death reversed here. So next, what to expect for the month of September, or what's happening for the month of September, is pile number 2. It's just kind of time to move on. I think that for some, you may have felt betrayed by somebody, or you may feel like you are betrayed by somebody because they may be moving, or they really isolated themselves. And this could be you, could be vice versa. Like, you really isolated yourself and you're deciding to just kind of go and not tell people. I see, like, some people who are around there, they're like, hey, like, why are you leaving? Like, or why are you, you know, and you may kind of slightly emotionally shut down if this is the timeline that we're in. But I feel like for some, you may be seeing, like, somebody that you thought was, like, a really good friend that you were, like, so disappointed in. And this may be something from the past where it was just kind of, like, you're seeing that they were just kind of nasty and that maybe they never wanted to talk to you and it just almost felt fake. I'm sorry, pile number 2. That's not... It's not fun. It's definitely not. And you may have felt like they turned their back on you. And I see the part in The Lion King where Timon goes, well, they turn your back on you or whatever, you turn your back on the world. And I feel that that might be the issue. I think this might be a good friend who you haven't spoken to, and they kind of, like, you know, turn their back on you, but they may have turned their just back on the world. And you might have just been the collateral damage in that. So I just wanted to give you guys the heads up on that. And kind of moving through and seeing that you may have to, like, kind of go through it again, being disappointed. I feel like this might not be the first time. And for some of you, you're going, it's many times. And it may just be the fact that this is their personality and their personality trait. And you kind of, like, you know, saw them for who they were, but you put, like, a paint gloss over top that made it nice and shiny, so it was just good to look at. And, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from that. So the beginning of the month, we have death reversed. Scorpio energy. I feel for the beginning of the month, and this is the first week and a half to be, like, slight beginning of 2 weeks, because energy is fluid. I feel like there's going to be some tumultuous activity in the beginning of the month, with... Hold on, just give me 1 second. It's kind of a deep message. You're trying to essentially maybe try and slow things down. For some, you may be feeling that things are speeding up and things are changing and things are coming to a close, and you're trying to essentially resist that and trying to, for some, getting prepared as well, even if this is tumultuous and you're trying to, like, or that you're trying to figure out how to move through it and move through the change, and you're trying to almost resist it or ignore it. And it's maybe in regard to somebody else moving, it may be in regard to somebody else kind of causing it, and it's kind of bleeding into your life where you just need to make change. Because I hear the song, oh my god, why is it not coming to me? But the song by Stevie Nicks, Landslide. I built my life around you. And that's kind of where it's hard, because you put a lot of effort and time, and maybe you weren't expecting for this person to get up and move, get up and leave, or that is leading you to make change for yourself. And I feel like a manifestation is coming in, something that you've wanted, and the paths just aren't in line, or what you're looking for, your end goal. If this person is here, you're in that energy field, and where they want to go, it's just that separation of energy. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but that's what I'm seeing for the first week and a half, 2 weeks into the month. Mid-month, we have the Nine of Swords reversed. So once again, feelings of deep betrayal, and I'm sorry, pile number 2. I know I keep saying it, but it's not. I feel like pile number 2, you're going to realize that you have a lot on your plate. Like, you actually may wake up thinking about things that you have to do at work, that you're so anxious that it's almost as if there's so much going on that you're thinking about that you can't sleep. But it's also going to kind of show you that you need to make change, especially mentally, like in your third eye, that your third eye is always open. You're always thinking, you're always trying to kind of like plan ahead, figure out the next step, because the chaos is just kind of coming at it, and you may be even having sleep issues. And it may be like, okay, well, I need to get these like sleep issues, and I just see like very similar, like getting triggered, like I have to take care of what I need to take care of, and you're maybe speaking and they're not hearing you, or they're not listening to you, or it's just kind of like they don't care. And I'm seeing like, well, this is how it is and this is what it is, but they're like, and you're finally maybe not gonna snap, but like, you're gonna be like, how the do you expect me to do what I need to do if I'm anxious and I'm running on empty and I'm doing everything that I can? And for some, you may have a packed schedule, and it's like you may want to fit in therapy, but it's like that little sliver, like you would have a half hour or 45 minutes and you don't even have the energy to do it. So it's kind of like, how do I fix this? And so I think this is part of that mass changing, because of everything that's going on around and the chaos that's happening. It's going to kind of see where you need to let go, like, and make some more space, and kind of see like, not things need to change, but it's almost like I gotta let this anxiety not take over me. And some of you may be sleeping a lot, like in that halfway, that 2-week mark of the month, like week and a half, that 2-week mark, where you're kind of like, okay, well, like something needs to change. I'm anxious. This is here. This is that. Like, this person needs me. I can't do it. Yeah. Yeah, this needs to change. This needs to end. It is going to take you a little while to get there, pal, too. I'm going to tell you that. This is not an action where you're physically going to take care of it. It's more of a mental energy. It's more of a physical symptom energy to kind of get you mentally on that process to get that to change. End of the month, I have the Page of Chalices reverse. So this could be, for some of you have kids, this may be like, I see a potty accident, a daycare accident, like where you may have to go pick the child up, depending if you have kids. Also, this may also just be you learning about your inner child and your own needs, and this may be something that you've never done before. I think this has to do with the eclipses that we have coming up in Virgo and in Pisces. Feel free to look up the videos when they come out for that, and I did talk about the nodes in my last video that's up already, so please feel free to take a look at that so you can kind of see, because it's in regards to health, sleep, endings, and things. So I think the eclipses are coming in to kind of make those changes for you. But also the other thing is, with the end of the month, this could be also a very childlike energy. And this could be reviewing if you even want kids. I think that there's an anxiety over this because it's like, okay, well, I don't really want kids. Or maybe, the person that you're talking to, or the person that you are kind of looking at, or maybe on dating apps for some, like if you're single, like you're seeing that, oh, like this person wants kids, and like I don't know if I fully want kids. Or it could be especially with Leo, like we have the signs, like, so Leo also rules kids, so this could just be kids in general. And it just depends on where this is happening in your house, and it's like houses of astrology. And so this is also you taking a look at the emotional depths, and also maybe not your dreams, but those inspiring creative things that make you feel good, and seeing that you need to be a little bit more childlike and do those things that actually make you feel good, happy, and to keep yourself not as stressed, I should say. Something to be aware of this month. Once again, we got a baby on this card. Oh, I don't know why I'm putting it upside down when it's upright, but we do. We got a baby on this card, and we got a horse on this card, and some sunflowers. So for some, there may be a new baby being born. For some, somebody might become pregnant in your family. I don't feel like it's you, just being honest. And it may just also be the birth of a new beginning and understanding kids. Like, I feel personally with this pile too, that you're not really sure about kids, and if you do want kids, you may be questioning it again, to seeing if you could do that, because I feel like I see that money might have to be a thing that's involved, and you might realize that you might not be able to afford it unless it's maybe combined with another person's salary, and it may not be something that you want to do because you wouldn't be able to afford it on your own. You would be dependent on somebody, and even spirit wants you to be aware of that if something does happen, like, these kids need to be taken care of. For some reason, they're telling me to tell you that, because I feel like whoever chooses this pile is somebody who's been watching me for a little while, or might be a friend of mine, knowing that, like, I left my job and now I work with I don't work with kids directly one-on-one, but I work as a probation officer for the judiciary, and long story short is I work in a department that works with children. So it's definitely different seeing what I see coming in about kids, and it makes you change your perspective on kids and how they need to be taken care of, and how people do take care of their kids and don't take care of their kids. So it's important. So when, I don't know why, but in a way, I'm just going to go with it, letting you know that kids need a lot of attention and time. And I know you may be like rolling your eyes like, yeah, no shit, but it could really go a wrong way, so make sure I see financial stability for whoever who is watching this. So keep this in mind as you're moving through and making sure that you could take care of them properly and give them the life that maybe you didn't get a chance to have, or maybe a life that they do deserve, and seeing where your finances lay with that, if that makes sense. Okay? Last but not least, Spirit's guidance for you this month is the Star Upright. Pile number 2, you have to choose to water yourself and take care of yourself. And Aquarius, this card is ruled by Aquarius, is about dreams and that reality. And so what I really do like about this is you need to choose what waters you. And you need to choose to water yourself with it. That's a beautiful analogy, which I'll have to use and write that down after we're done. But I feel like for some, you're pouring into something, whereas you can see on this card, I don't know, because of this doesn't have as big of a flow as that. It's adding to it, but it's not what is giving that primal source and what is feeding into that pool. So you may be wanting to choose something where what's draining you is what you're pouring that water into in that small way. It doesn't really give life, and you're kind of like, I don't really care about it that much. And this is where I think that you want to put your attention, but it's also hard because you're so bogged down. I see this mental fatigue where it's like you're so bogged down by that, and you want to choose what's right in front of you, but it's hard to because it makes you feel good and you can't feel it, so you put it in your mind, like the mental capacity, and you have to turn your attention to the things that aren't giving you that happiness and maybe that emotional satisfaction. Okay? But it's a good thing to have, because it's more about choosing what lights you up. What, like, we have the star, which is also like the sun, it's bright. So choosing those things, and, you know, maybe not necessarily being all about work all the time and physically working just to get something a goal out of it, and, you know, learning to step more into those emotional things, especially with that energy of Pisces, of what embodies us, what makes us want to be more spiritual, what makes us want to be more connected. So yeah. Last but not least, we have the black onyx crystal. And I actually want to make sure I get the right... I know that it's a very grounding and a protecting stone, but it also, once again, strength and resilience, emotional healing, focus and discipline, and balance and harmony is what this particular stone does. And I think it fits because we have a lot of things that are out of place right now to help bring back into alignment of what needs to be. So I hope that this resonated with you. And until next time, my friends, namaste. File number 2. You've chosen the True Black Tarot with the the Obsidian Crystal. I'll put it right over here. And I will start shuffling. And then, if you guys didn't catch the introduction, I just highly suggest going to take a look at that. Gives you a little bit of an explanation of the read, how I do things, and even to just a few things before we begin. Feel free to subscribe to the emailing list on my website. It's down below in the description box. You'll get 15% off of your first session with me. When you subscribe, it should be automatically emailed to you. And then energy exchange, for those of you that like to leave tips for your read, it'll be in the description box below. Venmo and PayPal will be available. Tips are always appreciated. They are never, never, never expected. So just feel free to do that if you would like to. It's there for those that do like to do that. Social media, I am on Instagram mainly. I'm not on TikTok or anything else, so feel free to follow, because I do put out videos and astrological updates and things, and so, yeah. So here we are. Alrighty, pile number 3, what is happening for you for the month of September? You guys are the only ones that didn't get a message from the universe. And these cards are sliding through pretty good. Alright, last but not least. Alright. No messages from the universe for you. But I loved how the cards just slid through smoothly. I like that. Energy is good. Alright. Chariot upright. King of Swords reversed. The Star. the Four of Cups, the Five of Cups reversed. A lot of emotion going on this month for everybody. Ooh. The Empress upright. The Four of Coins upright. Okay. For some reason, I just get this very basic energy, and meaning that this is more just almost like of an everyday kind of vibe. Some of you guys may just, who choose this pile, might be just checking in. Like, I just get that checking in kind of vibe, where it's very just, hey, like, what's going on? Just kind of wanted to do this maybe for shits and giggles, maybe it's your first time getting a read, whatever that may be. But yeah, so I just feel like a very everyday energy, just kind of chilling. You may even be sitting watching this and found it, and or sitting in bed just chilling, maybe trying to find a new tarot reader and kind of see what's going on. So it might be trying to give me a little bit of a test to see how well I pass the test. But yeah. All right. So here we go, pile number 3. Overall energy for the month is the Chariot. For some of you guys, you are a Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I just feel a heavy Sagittarius energy with this, even though this card is ruled by Cancer. So, travel. You guys may want to, like, expand your horizons. You want to, like, all of a sudden, something kind of, like, blew up, almost to the extent, and I don't know why, but they're telling me to tell you that something that I've learned over about the planets, because some of you guys may be more into like the astrophysicist area, the actual like astronomy or rocket science, kind of like science-based portion of astrology or astronomy, something like that. And Jupiter was, if he decides to make that choice, the planet itself could turn into a second sun. So this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that expansion of Jupiter expanding into a sun, and seeing that you are looking to expand your horizons. Like, this is almost like you looking at the night sky and seeing that there's more than what is beyond you, and you want to be a part of this. And so, but you feel at times though, because with that expansion comes this, how do I put this? This narrow-mindedness of where you can't make decisions and you can't kind of see. They're showing me the Uranus retrograde coming up. I don't know if it already happened or if it's happening this week. I think it's happening this week, and I gotta make a video on it. On Gemini. So this is the energy that I'm picking up on, and so it's very like interesting because you're so intelligent, pile number 3, and I can see that, and it's almost as if like maybe you just stepped into spirituality, and maybe you're seeing that you want to expand more and maybe start off with the math or science basics and learning the planets and what they are, and like maybe you've always been interested to see how many days it takes for Venus to make a complete orbit, how many moons do they have, what are the moons' names, like just those kinds of small things. And so I feel like this month, and to embody the energy, is use that drive. And for some, though, very select few of you, that Cancer energy is coming up, especially for somebody in particular. You could have a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is almost like a Cancer energy, the Cancer energy is coming out in the card. In that feeling, you may be stuck and kind of rooted at home, or you're getting ready to travel, or you're deciding where to travel, or you're about to like sign on like an airfare plan, ticket, credit card, something, where you're getting ready to just kind of sign and do it and to embody it. And maybe like doing like you're not sure though, like you're almost in fear that you might not be able to make the decision about where you want to go and travel. Like maybe it's your first time like really starting to travel. It may have taken you either 3 months to decide where you wanted to go on vacation, or 3 months to until you go on vacation. So where are we at? We're in September. Today's September 1st. So September, November, December. So you may be going on vacation in January. It may take you 3 months to kind of like figure out. And I'm even hearing for some, like, you would love to maybe book a read just to get an idea of where, with me, to figure out where to go or how to maybe come up with a plan, like the small reads, and even Spirit's giving me the idea. Or even you, as you're watching this, like, to do small reads like that, like, where you can kind of just give small guidance, like, very quickly, like, on the spot, almost like TikTok, where she's like, hey, I have a question. Okay, here's the one card, and call it a day. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yes, this is what I'm picking up with this, and embody that energy. I mean, use that drive. See where your roots are to make that change, expand, okay? And so, what to expect this month, I have the King of Swords. Pile number 3, you have somebody that ignores you. Like, they don't answer, or it's like you see this person once every 6 months and you see them like once a year, or you'll see them like in July and then you see them like at the end of like Christmas and the beginning of January, and then you meet up again in like July. It's almost like this they showed me a triangle, and this person, I feel like they don't really talk much. I don't want to say they're mute, but they don't really share that much. And maybe you try to, like, I'm always like seeing this, like, you're trying to pull stuff out of them or try to see how they're doing, and they never actually like really share, and they may actually be somewhat I don't want to say depressed, but you may just realize that this person doesn't really talk to you. Like, maybe they got problems, like maybe they have communication issues, they're very cold, they're very maybe honest, like they kind of snap at you when they talk, like it's never like a pleasant conversation, and you're the one that's like, well, I'm going to befriend this person, and it doesn't really work out that way. But it's almost hitting you like they don't really speak to you, and you're like, and this is also you seeing too that maybe you need to stop talking so much. And I hate this, but maybe you're like, I see like you may be somebody who literally like will go up and like talk to anybody, or you got like verbal diarrhea and you're literally like talking about everything, anything, anytime, any place, anywhere. And it's kind of like you may be seeing, I see like in the beginning, like for like the whole month you may be talking a lot, but then realize like you got to stop talking like on the last day of the month. You're like, yeah, I really shouldn't have done that. But that is something to kind of be aware of, and also to kind of feel that darker side of yourself. I feel like you guys are very positive. Like, you may have a lot of masculine energy in you, especially in those positive polarities. So you could be a Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I see for some possibly a Leo stellium. I also see like Sagittarius. So all of those kinds of energies were very positive, not really into the feminine and placements in the chart. So it may be a little difficult to kind of sit in with the feelings and deal with that darker energies of places. So just something to kind of keep in mind. So for the beginning of the month, we have the Star. And what I'm seeing with this is, I feel like you guys may have a crush on somebody, especially if you're a masculine watching this. You may have a crush on somebody who has feminine energy, or you may see them from afar, or you really like their vibe, like you see them on a daily basis. It could be a coworker, and they kind of like really make you feel good about yourself. I see like almost like a light medium skin complexion with like blonde hair, or maybe for some brown hair, it just depends. But the beginning of the month, you may be kind of going out and may see this person, or want to see this person, or really want to kind of get in that vibe, and may meet somebody too where you enjoy that feminine energy, where they're very like life of the party, fun, almost like I hear like they got it going on, and a good thing, and you know, you kind of want to get a little bit more into that energy. And so with that, also at the beginning of the month as well, in regards to your energy, I feel like for some reason, you guys may have, like, I don't know why, but very generally specific, like an ex who went through that emo phase where, or you were dating somebody, had like blonde hair, and the emo phase where they like kind of brush the hair over, or and wore the eyeliner like Jared Leto and all of those other like 80s metal hair bands did. And they wore the eyeliner back when it was like a big thing with the emo phase. And that may kind of be like your style, or this person may have that style that we were talking about. But this is also about dreams, and it's also kind of seeing that this Aquarian energy where you want to go out and you want to be positive and you want to have fun. You may go out to a bar, you may decide to maybe like go out after a little while, and kind of get that vibe for like the first like week and a half, possibly even 2 weeks, depending on the energy and how it flows. But you may just kind of want to go out, hang out with friends, and go grab a drink, or you may step out for the first time in a few weeks and kind of enjoy your time and just want to be different, maybe change up your style, be a little bit more eccentric and authentic. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. But this could also be to that deeper energy that we were talking about, where it's like you kind of turn away. So like, I will be honest with you, pile number 3, things may not be going really well with your career. Like maybe you're having a great social life, or your social life is great and this is what you use to cope and escape, but like you're not taking care of what needs to be taken care of at work. It may just kind of be like, oh well, like I'm not really enjoying it. You may be depressed at work. Like you may feel like things at work, like you won't even be honest with yourself to even allow yourself to feel that deep darkness that needs to change. And this may be the way to cope, and why you also may be wanting to connect with this person. So if it's in a negative like shadow phase, just try and feel that through so you can kind of make that change, if that makes sense. Mid-month energy, I have the 4 of Cups. And so, once again, we're stepping more into that darker energy, and I feel it might take over in the week and a half to the mid-month part of this month, and it's almost as if I feel like you get really upset around, like, not upset, I shouldn't say that, where you get bogged down by a lot of people who have very, very negative energy. Like, you may work with, like, a group of people who are always just, like, oh, like, negative Nancy all the time, and the energy, you actually absorb it. And I think that's why you're feeling the negative energy, because you're, like, trying to be positive, and then when, you know, laws of opposites, when somebody tries to be positive, they try, and the negative kind of pulls it down. So trying to stay in that vibe, it can be really tough. But it's also about realizing that you do need to protect yourself for some, but also not, like, I just see you kind of shying away, like, mentally, like, not speaking at some point, maybe just kind of, like, there may be a couple days or, like, a day where you're like, I can't deal with this, like, I don't want to be bothered by it, I don't want to look at it, like, it will. And it's also trying to get you to, like, review and revisit, like, things may be going good and coming your way, but you're just like, no, like, I'm not feeling it, and I don't, like, not paying attention to it, don't want it, wondering if there's something better out there, and trying to figure out what to do. But it's also more of an emotional thing. Step into the emotion. This card, the 4 cups, is the cups are all about emotion and relationships. So it could just be the fact that you're not feeling it, you're not vibing it with it, and it's starting to create, like, small issues that you need to come to the realization that needs to be taken care of or changed. But once again, I feel like it might be that mid-month energy, so you might not do anything specific about it in that sense. End of the month, I have the 5 of Cups reversed, and I feel like this is in regard to work, that this is complex, so just give me a second. I want to get the right message. Pile number 3, I'm going to say this, and just to give you confirmation for some if you need it, you may be psychic and you're learning it, or understanding that you do absorb people's energies. And so what I'm seeing is you're realizing mentally that you have so many different complexities to you, and kind of seeing that this card usually means not playing the victim. Maybe depending on the situation, the emotions are out of balance, and being deep within, wallowing within your feelings, or not feeling this through enough. It just depends. But what I feel with this is you have so many different complexities to you as a person that you feel that everybody else is grouped into one thing and grouped into things where they're okay and you're the one the end of the month that's kind of like, okay, well, I'm kind of different, I'm more positive, I'm this, and like you have, different backgrounds in this, and it's kind of like trying to figure out where all of these pieces can kind of like come together, where everybody else kind of just seems set in it. They've been in the career for a long time, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus years, and it's almost as if, you're the one that's newer, if so, depending. But getting into that emotional field, that I think that you haven't said this to yourself, but realizing that you have to realize how you feel to how you mentally think it through, to be honest with yourself, if that makes sense, about your different quote unquote spirit says complexities. Um, Very versatile, and that's where you're going to try and figure out mentally where you belong, because of this somewhat of this feeling of, and I feel like you absorb their stuff, that kind of like their energy that kind of breaks you down, and it's like you're also trying to, once again, and you're thinking about it and you see these things but you dismiss them, and you see that they may take a dig, or that they're clicky, or there's groups and they kind of like get um kind of too into their job, and you're kind of like realizing, like, this is their career, this is where they've been, this is kind of what they want to do, and like that's just not you. Like, it's just kind of you trying to figure that out, if that makes sense. I hope that that kind of makes sense, but getting more into how it is that you feel, if that makes sense. All right, and something that you need to be aware of this month, have the Empress. You may have somebody trying to kind of like tell you what to do, and I feel like this person might be a mentor of yours, or a boss even, or somebody who sits at a very much higher level than you, almost like a CEO kind of thing, or they may be trying to tell you what to do, but then you're gonna kind of like realize that, once again, in that mental thing, with that Pisces energy, coming to the full fruition of seeing that the truth is what it is, that they just have a facade over top of them. And I think that the truth is for you to figure out. I see that facade, like it's almost as if they don't want to do anything, and they would rather, kind of almost like a Capricorn energy, see here, give you gifts, give you things, kind of like make it out to be like they're the best and they can kind of give it, but then you're just kind of like, you don't want to do anything. And I think it's an issue on their end because they're tired, and it's just kind of like easier to kind of like delegate and do things that way, if that makes sense. And also, this has to do with something that you need to be aware of too, is, I would say, your skin. Like, I wouldn't show too much skin, and I know it sounds, not that I'm once again trying to tell you what to do. um I almost see like maybe buying makeup products, or trying to buy like enhancement products, like maybe thinking about getting lip fillers, but like I just wouldn't be too promiscuous, if that makes sense. Like, not that I'm saying that you are, but I would just be a little bit more reserved, and not in this shadow energy of kind of putting your self-worth out there by showing how well your physical appearance is. And I'm just going to be honest, I'm hearing some like you could have an OnlyFans, or you could be a seeker, I'm hearing, of OnlyFans, or something like that, where you're looking for that. But just be aware, like, don't be tempted, don't be duped, um and kind of just understand this energy and how it makes somewhat sense for you. And it's almost like too, you might be wanting, if you're feminine or masculine, wanting to try out beauty products and seeing that maybe almost like you're a blank canvas, but it's also coming from a place where you're not liking who you are. So, and I hate to sound like this, but maybe thinking that if you put this certain shade of lipstick on, or this certain eyeliner, or this mascara, or if it's designer mascara, that it's going to make you feel and cure all of your problems, when it's not. And it's kind of like coming back from that facade of seeing that, you know, you can't just, how do I put it, climb up to the top to make yourself feel quote unquote higher in that positive space to make yourself feel good when there's issues at the bottom that aren't being taken care of, if that makes sense. Last but not least, Spirit's advice is the Four of Pentacles. First thing I heard is set boundaries, but also too, coming from the physical appearance, you also have to love the cracks and the crannies and the veins and the broken capillaries in your legs and things like in your body. There's also perfection within the imperfection, and seeing that the darkness too, that there may be a part of you that mentally feels trapped, like you can't get out, almost as if, you know, similar at work, it's kind of deep, where everybody else around you is trying to do their job, or like it's almost as if you feel not thrown into a pack of wolves, but you're within a pack of wolves, where you know that they'll kind of like rip you apart, rip you to shreds, eat you, yell at you, and like you're a wolf and you're there, you kind of just got initiated in the pack, but like you're so new, and it's almost like you feel like you don't fit in. And like you're trying to kind of figure a way out. Not that they're bullying you, but like they may notice. That's something that I'm feeling. And it's also about kind of like setting boundaries. And I think that this is where you guys are very smart. Like, you know, like you're highly intelligent. You know that if you set the boundaries, you know that they're going to come after you. And maybe this is the vibe that I'm picking up. Like, you know that that's what they do. They're showing me, was it Lord of the Flies? Like that book that we read, it was like I read it in high school a long time ago, but it explains how natural humans are without rules, like, and very quickly the book talks about like it's about these young boys, I think it's a plane crash, and they're stuck kind of in the wild, and so they have to learn how to survive. And so what happens is, you know, without those societal rules and those boundaries and these things that we put in place, it can cause issues. And so if you decide to read the book, it's very good because they kind of ostracize one of the other, and it's because they're, you know, the weakest link. And what happens is, you know, they beat up on the one, and they're mean to the one that's different. They're mean to the one that's eccentric, the one that can't maybe fend for themselves. And because of that human need and how humans can be, they can be very malicious when there isn't any kind of moral values. You know, they get murderous. And so this is where I think that Spirit wants you to kind of be very like wary, and I think this is why you're being told to kind of keep your mouth shut. This is why you're like, or you're learning that you're talking too much in a way, and kind of seeing these bits and pieces of where you're putting things together, and realizing that, you know, there's some issues going on behind the scenes. And so, you know, that people are closer than they really are, and like there's hidden, you know, not agendas. It's not like that deep where it's like this, you know, Hail Hydra stuff from the Avengers. It's just more of realizing that I think you need to be honest with yourself, pile number 3, that, you know, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. You might not even be considered to be at the pole. It's almost as if you're, like, I don't want to sound, but this is the truth. It's almost as if you're nothing. And understanding that. And I know that you're sitting here, like, mentally saying to me, like, yeah, Demi, like, I know all this, but this is where that brain fog and that mental fatigue and that veil needs to come off to kind of see the truth. And I think that that's a lesson in it for yourself. And I think it has to do with these people in this group that you're around, that you're learning a lesson from, that, you know, you get circled and you get targeted. And almost as not a target on your back, but maybe it's about you targeting yourself. do you target yourself? And so that's what I see for the month of. Sorry it got real deep at the end. I didn't expect it to, but I think that you guys got somewhat comfortable, and it was like you got intuitive into listening to it because you kind of like got an answer that you needed. Obsidian. This is my personal stone. I love this stone. It helps ground. I also want to get more on this for you. And it's also for protective issues. So it shields against negative energy and psychic attacks, absorbing and releasing negative energy and clearing mental confusion. So this is very fitting for you, pile number 3. It reveals the truth as well, it purifies, and it helps work with balance, alignment, and intuition. This is definitely a stone that I would recommend carrying around. It is made from volcanic ash. It's usually very, very sharp. So you can find actually natural obsidian on Etsy. That's where I get mine from. To me, I'm always like the bigger the better. And also, they're telling me shungite crystals. If you're somebody that is easily likes to absorb can absorb things, I've been feeling a lot better now that I've been putting like shungite crystals on everything. Like I put it in all my electronics, almost all of them. That puts out any kind of like radiation. So especially like my phone and my computer, I would definitely do that because I've noticed that I haven't been as anxious with that. So I hope that this read resonated with you, and until next time, namaste. Hey guys, pile number 4, you have chosen the Weaver Tarot Dernier Edition with the Carnelian Crystal. I'm gonna put this over here and start some shuffling. I highly suggest going back and checking out the introduction to this video so you could get a little bit of insight on how I read, what the spread's about, and all that fun jazz. If you guys have been watching my videos for a little while, some of you know that I do own Atlas Vibration Spirituality. There is an email list. You will receive 15% off of your first session with me when you subscribe to that emailing list. It is in the description box below, the link to my website, and it should be automatically emailed to you. For those of you that do like to do energy exchange, being that I do these reads for free, my Venmo and PayPal is in the description box below as well. Tips are always appreciated. They are never, ever, ever expected. So that is there for those that like to do that. And social media, feel free to follow me on Instagram. That's mainly where I'm active at. I haven't really been figuring out what I want to do with my monthly newsletter for the business because I felt like it got redundant. So I was like, okay. So I'm going to try something new kind of coming October. We'll see what I come up with. If you have any ideas, put it in the comment box below. Whatever you would like to hear about, whether it's educational, information, something random, I'm open. But yeah. Alrighty, so what is going to happen for you, pile number 4, in the month of September? I don't know why, but Spirit's telling you, for me to tell you, that I'm filming this on September 1st. I don't know if somebody didn't know what the date, but we'll go from there. Alright. What is happening for pile number 4 in the month of September? You and pile number 3 are the only 2 piles that did not get messages from the universe. How sad. But I always love it when a good, nice shuffle comes through. Alright guys, we're gonna hop into it. We got the Seeker of Coins. This is the Page of Pentacles. Traditional tarot. I have the 3 of Cups reversed. These cards are very pretty. This deck, fun fact, it told me last night, like my gut, this deck actually told me it wanted to be in today's thing, and I haven't used this deck in a very, very long time. So 7 of Coins reversed. Four of Coins reversed. You guys got a lot of Pentacle energy. You saw me shuffle these. Four of Wands reversed. Oh. Two of Coins upright. The Chariot. This is the collective energy. This came out in the last pile too, except it was here. Okay, guys. Here we are. Once again, very similar to pile number 3. Just a very everyday energy, but I feel like you guys are actually more of my deep thinkers in a way, where you're the deep emotional thinker, where you're kind of looking to get an answer to see if I come up with the answer about something set specific that you're asking for or been wondering about, and kind of want to see if it is going to happen for you this month. So let's see if I answer your question, but I feel like because you chose this pile to see if you get that answer, it probably will come through. You may be a new reader of my from me, or of me. So hi, I'm Demi, and here we are. All right, so hopefully you guys can see the cards better. Yay. All right, so the overall energy for the month is the Seeker of Coins. I just heard the Seeker of Wisdom. You're very similar to pile number 3, but also I feel like you guys are more of the like curiosity killed the cat kind of thing, where it's more of you're very curious as to what path do I need to take the next step in? Like, what do I need to do to get myself on the right path? Because the Seeker of Coins, or the Page of Pentacles, is somebody who is starting off on a new journey for educational things. It's about learning. It's about being grounded in your reality to make this kind of new, I don't want to say idea, but this new tangible thing in reality, because it's an earth sign, to kind of happen. So it's kind of like you're embodying the energy and continue to embody the energy that I need the answers this month. I need to be able to kind of research, gain the wisdom, see what wisdom that I need to have, take the wisdom that I need or I have learned, and bring that with me to start this new. But it's almost as if pile number 4, you don't know where this is going to kind of like lead you. And I see with this, you guys may be dabbling into witchcraft. Like, maybe for some you may need to get a pendulum. I should probably buy one of those too, so you can kind of like use it to move around to get the answers for your questions. That might be a very good tool to start off with, because I'm hearing that, that you might see that tarot might be too hard, or too, like, you don't have a lot of time. So you may be using like a pendulum, or you're not getting answers from the pendulum, and it's like, okay, and you're being blocked by spirit to figure out what's going on. But embody the energy of trying to gain wisdom, to maybe even do like a coffee reading, like get a little $5 to $6 reading from there too. Like, maybe if you have another set specific answer on a question down the line. That's what I'm seeing with this. But embody that energy of being new, open to new experiences, learning. And I feel like this is where you're going to find that answer, when you open up a little bit more to having an open mind. I'm not saying that your mind is closed. It's just maybe you have an idea that, this is the best example that I'm going to give you. You may, just hypothetical, and this could be right too, you may want to be a college professor and teach something, and everybody else has maybe gone to grad school, or they have a master's, and they put themselves on this jet straight path. And for you, it might be a little bit different, because you're like, well, I have to go to school, or I have to do this. But you may work, like, I'm just being hypothetical, like for a magazine company. And maybe you have like a master's degree or a bachelor's in something else, but you may be open to creation. So you may meet somebody who is a college professor that may be looking for an assistant, and may be able to kind of help you pick a narrowed out plan and get the idea of where you need to be without having to go through this path that you have in your mind about where you should be and how it should be done. You might be taking, I don't want to say a shortcut, but it may just be like you might need to meet the right person at the right time. You may need to meet or maybe work for this, I don't know, like writing agency and to find the right kind of resources to get you where you need to be so you don't have to do all of that like extra work. So that's what I'm kind of trying to tell you, to embody that energy of having that open mind, getting that answer. You may have to be in the physical reality doing something to actually get that answer. So that's what I feel like is going on for the month, because you're I don't want to be like, it's not, I don't mean it, I guess, disrespectfully, but you're lost. And it's like trying to figure out like where to go, like even a map, like you may be trying to figure out where to move, like you may almost have this thing where you're trying to make decisions but you can't, and it's like, okay, well, you're getting frustrated because you're trying to do things to get the answers and it's like not making any sense, and you feel like you're halted and you're stopped. So embody that energy of being open and being more open to the wisdom and other ways of getting answers to kind of break yourself out of your shell. And I think that that's what that is. It's about getting you to break out of your shell and doing things differently than you normally would. Now, what to expect for the month of September? I have the Three of Cups reversed. I don't know, pile number 4, if there was a group of friends that used to be like when you were kids. Like I see like a I don't know the movie, but it's like a group of 4 girls. It's not Mean Girls. But and also like The Craft, like I'm seeing that there may have been like where you were a part of that group of 4, and it's like it's kind of dawning on you a little bit, and maybe it's been so far long gone when you were like childhood friends that it may be something that you miss, or something might come up, or somebody may say something to you in that way. But I also feel mainly though you won't have a lot of energy to kind of go out. I think that, and I'm just being honest with you, pile number 4, I feel like you may have gone through like a really like resting period, or you started taking a new medication and where you've like really kind of gained weight, so you may kind of be like, okay, I need to get out on the treadmill, but like I'm too tired. Like it might be like a thyroid problem, and they're showing me even the eclipses, like you're very energetically connected to things, and so you might be realizing like I'm really tired and I like don't really feel like moving, and you may be laying in bed and you may be sleeping a lot more. And this is also about like over partying, so maybe you really like outdid it. Like I know it sounds funny, is well, not funny, but maybe last winter, like January, like around this semi time from like November, December, January of last year, like into February, you may have been so busy that your body was like up and running, and like your body's paying for it now for some of you. I see a lot of travel, maybe conventions for work. It could just be because you worked, I'm hearing retail, maybe like around the holidays it was a busy period and you just still haven't caught up. Like it maybe you took a couple months to like relax, but it never actually fully like hit you with that. But I think you're also realizing that the group of friends that you're with, like they're showing me Sarah from The Craft, that your friends really aren't your friends, like they're actually really mean. And you're kind of realizing that you're the quote unquote like white witch of the group, like you're not actually like them. You're very different, and realizing that, you know, it's not the same. So yes, that's kind of what to expect for this month. For the beginning of the month, which is the first week, week and a half, up to 2 weeks, because energy is fluid. Yeah, pile number 4, I feel for you because you're having issues trying to kind of like make decisions, and you're looking to spirit to kind of help you make that decision, and it's very unclear in which the path in which you were on, and you may try to feel like, okay, well, this brought me here and this needs to be brought here, and you're kind of like realizing that it's kind of like this almost, they're showing me similar to me, like a deeper issue where you're taking everything that you have learned and applying it, and you're seeing where you're applying it, but you're also kind of like me where you're getting emotionally fed up because it's too hard a little bit, and you need something a little bit more, and you're trying to find maybe peace, but it's almost like, okay, it got you from here to here to here, but it's also like, what decision do I make myself, where you're over analyzing it, like almost this Virgo energy, to kind of and control it to get where you want to be. And this is also seeing that this is also dying crops or things, like for example, like taking care of what you have. And so just like any harvest, you plant a whole bunch of seeds and some of them don't come up or some kind of, die in the process. And so are you watering something like a dead plant? Like, is it time for it to be uprooted? Can you save it? So this is where I think that this is also part of the answers too. I think that you need to be a little bit more, as I hate telling people what to do, but being a little bit more grounded in your reality and seeing where, you're overwatering the plant is dying, and I think that's a lesson in itself. That can't water a dying plant or a negative plant that has this energy that, you can't really come back from, or you can't really save it. And I think that'll be like the first, couple weeks, like you might be in that shadow energy and seeing that, you're investing way too much time and planning and trying to control things that you can't. And then it's like, as things are falling apart, you look to spirit for help, but it's like they can guide you and give you the right answers, but it's sometimes not that you got to figure it out for yourself, but it's about figuring that out. Okay, so 4 of Coins for the mid-month energy reversed. I feel for you, pile number 4, because I feel like you're gonna be lonely. That second week and a half to second week in, because it's gonna be a little tough. Very simple, like betrayal is a big thing this month. I feel like it's coming up in almost all the piles, but seeing that you belong where you and don't belong, that's been the theme for this past month from all 4 piles. I feel that you're not going to want to share. I see like social media, you may be like on social media, but you're kind of like isolating yourself, which is what that 3 of Cups card can be too. That you're isolating yourself, you're not letting people in, you're not letting these evil, malicious energies that you know and feel are in, and even money. This is also boundaries, so not being a little bit more aware, and also like spending money. So you may even be seeing that you're spending too much and you don't want to spend that much money, and you're kind of like hiding it, and then like these evil / malicious energies like, well, I know that you have money saved, I know how much money you have saved, or I know that you have money, why are you telling me that you don't have money? And this is where I think it kind of starts to sink in, that like you get a little bit in your feelings. You could have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and so it's very like almost intense energy. And this is where, like, and learning to kind of just be like, well, that's like sticking up for yourself almost. And I'm just being honest, pile number 4, I don't think you've gotten there yet, being like, well, that's not what I want to spend my money on. And you may feel that, and like that's where you're starting to see that things are different. And it's also very similar to pile number 3, with kind of being around people who were almost like wolves, like ganging up on the other one because they're different and they're doing things a little bit more out of the box, or they're doing something right, and they don't like the fact that they don't have control anymore to kind of tell you what to do, and that's where that kind of is. So you're kind of retreating back, and they feel that energy, and that's where you're kind of like, okay. And it may be a group from when and you were younger, and you might fit in somewhere else a little bit better. End of the month energy, I have the 4 of Wands reversed. So I see you guys stepping a little bit more into your power, which is good. And this is all about inner stability, inner personal celebrations. And this may be you manifesting and choosing what you want and not letting anybody know, being so secretive about it that you're not telling anybody, that you're kind of in your own little bubble. You don't want to, like, Virgo energy, taking care of yourself, healing yourself, being even more selfish in that. They're even showing me my 28 degrees rising sign of Virgo. So seeing that, getting your wishes, being selfish about your wishes, seeing that, you have your own little wins, like you do have your money, you do have this, and understanding that you do. And I love this because you're kind of seeing that, like, I do have good things, I do have this, and I need to kind of learn and grow somewhat from that. So that's actually really nice. It's all about you. And for some, I'm hearing quitting smoking or quitting, like, marijuana smoking, and, like, just not as much, so you're not as, like, dopey in the day. Like, they're very good, so that way, you should celebrate your little wins, because it's something. Every small step, means something. Something that you need to be aware about this month is the Two of Coins. So I don't know what's going on, pile number 4, in a way, but I feel like and you feel this, and take this how this resonates with you. There may be somebody who who is pulling the strings behind the scenes when it comes to you and somebody else, if that makes sense. Like, you may be, like, I'm just going to give an example, like you and your boss, or you and your coworker, or something, where you're in a situation where you're with a quote unquote, like, I'm going to say an elite or a boss or somebody who's up there, but there's somebody else pulling the strings, and you may feel that this person was always pulling the strings, and that person who's pulling the strings is getting what they want through that elite person. And by you, and, like, getting information, and you've always kind of, like, known, you've always had a gut feeling that the person was, like, pulling the strings. So just kind of be aware, because you're going to see that the energy may be pulled more towards you, and you may actually begin to see the strings on how they're being pulled, and how this whole situation is kind of pulling through. Usually this card means balancing between the signs, like balancing between finances and home, and, like, your priorities and those kinds of things. So you may also need to see that you may need to finagle some things. Like, I see, like, the wiring of money, so you may need to kind of, like, wire some money, or not ask for money, but kind of figure out how to make the paths cross to where you can kind of get to where you need to be with the money, and, like, move the money in and out. So you may have to, like, take, like, 1,000 or 2,000, like, to kind of bring something down and then put the money back. Like, it's just kind of one of those things where it comes to finances, priorities, balance, and figuring out what to do with that. Like, you may need to kind of finagle strings a little bit and be a little bit more manipulative about money, and where to put the money, and how the money is going to kind of, like, work for you. And it could be in regard to debt. It's a Scorpio energy, so it may just be like, okay, well, I gotta put this here, figure out this, and kind of come up with the plan. And, like, and I hate to sound like this, but you may be manipulative, because, like, these people may be trying to get you to go out and, like, stuff, but you're just gonna kind of be like, because I'm sorry, Paula, before, but you're kind of, like, sad, because, like, that if you say the truth, like, like, trying to pay off, like, stuff or something, that they're not going to kind of listen to you. Like, people won't listen to you. They don't, so you may have to kind of be, like, manipulative and be like, well, I just bought this, or, like, and you don't want to be like that. And it may be, like, this deep, almost Black Lilith, like, energy, where it's like you may kind of get, I don't want to say, you may get a surge of power from knowing that you could kind of tell them this, and, like, you kind of got a one-up over on them. And Spirit is saying, if you do get like that, keep it to yourself and don't take it out on people like that. And be so, Spirit saying, set in your ways with that. And don't let the selfishness truly get to you in regard to the situation. I think you'll know what that means by the end of the month. And I recommend watching these videos. Like, I recommend watching it now, halfway through the month, and at the end of the month, and put the pile that you chose in the comments. So that's what I would think about with that. Last but not least, Spirit's advice to you and their guidance is the Chariot. So it's time to be honest with yourself, pile number 4. You're moving in different directions. You gained your wings. You upgraded, and I think that's what people can't understand. Like, they don't understand. And not that they don't understand, they just don't like the fact that you're leaving, almost like a security blanket. Like, you got your wings and they're stuck with their, like, you know, busted up, like, chariot that, you know, like, as you say mentally, they didn't want to put the work in to get. That they didn't want to do the right thing, or knowing that you were always smarter and they wanted to keep you there. It's kind of just, in general, a control issue. You know the truth, and I think that this is something that's a little bit triggering. Like, you're breaking out of this mental space where spirit is saying, and moving away from that, and not, like, kind of listening to other people, because they drag you down. I think that this is a big lesson that you're learning in this month, is that they bring you down. They drain you sometimes. They don't see, like, I'm stepping into your feelings now. They don't see your wins. They don't see, like, the little things that you have done, and, you know, you do hide these things sometimes, but it's almost as if, you know, you could be a Scorpio, like, again, Sun, Moon, or Rising, like, where you are a good person. You know that you can do it, and you have a gift where you could manipulate energy and work with it, and, you know, you put the work in. You have just natural talent, natural beauty, that, you know, from being a good person. And sometimes it kind of gets you in your feels and you get upset because people don't understand it, but this is what I want you guys to kind of sit with and see that drive, and that you can kind of get, like, you may be working towards down the line, like 6, 7, 8 months of getting yourself a new home or a new house and figuring out where you want to be. This is Cancer energy. So Spirit saying continue that drive. Like, don't let somebody dim your light or those kinds of things, and it's easier said than done. So that's what I'm taking from this. And this is going to be your month pile number 4. You chose in the pile with the citrine crystal, this is carnelian, not citrine. This rules the solar, or the sacral chakra, actually. That is the creation chakra. That is the emotional body. I feel like that you need to embody that energy a little bit more, of being creative. This is also courage, vitality, and creativity. It does help with confidence, action, and manifestation. And what else? There's one other thing. Overcoming feelings of inadequacy. So this will definitely help with those feelings that you're kind of working through and seeing how it is, and don't let those emotions run ragged. If you feel it and you're sad, feel it. Okay? So I hope that this resonated with you. Until next time, namaste.